Hi, kids Afield, camera kids. Well, here we are, another Wednesday. It's a beautiful day, but it's still too cold for taking pictures outside. It isn't too cold to be outside, but to be outside and be comfortable, I have to have my big clunky gloves on, and they're gonna make it hard to take the pictures. Hopefully, it will get warmer in a week or two. Maybe next week. Meanwhile, I did stop with my camera and went to Petco. So I took some animal pictures there, and I thought you might like to see them. By the way, right now I am standing outside in front of my house, and before I go inside, I will show you an animal that lives with me. Maybe you can hear. And I have a question. Yeah, there you are. What are you going to say, Chica? Her name is Chica. And my question about Chica is, she's outside and she's quite comfortable with her fur coat on, but she doesn't have mittens on her feet. And I wonder, why is it that her feet don't get freezing cold? Something to think about. In this movie, we have other questions about animals. The two animals that I took pictures of. So this is Chica. Chica, can you say hello? Can you say hello? Huh. Guess she doesn't want to talk right now. Lots of times she talks way too much, don't you, Chica? Sit down, sit down. Yes, lie down. Okay, good girl. She wants me to throw her ball, so I will throw her ball for her. Do you know what kind of dog she is? I bet some of you do know. Okay, Chica. I'll tell you something interesting about Chica. As you can see and I can see, the ball that she has is yellow. Let the ball down. But if the ball gets lost in the snow, she can't see it, because dogs do see some color, but they don't see yellow. So when she loses her ball, she finds it with her long nose. Okay, one last ball, Chica. Leave it. Drop it. She doesn't like to give it up. Well, if she won't play by my rules, then I don't play. Anyway, let's go and look at the pictures that I took at Petco. What do you think, Chica? One more ball? Leave it. Come on. Oh, she dropped it in the snow. Okay, here we go. Last ball. She could chase balls all day. At Petco's, I took pictures of two particular kinds of animals. The first one was, I don't know if you can see this clearly, a goldfish. Now this doesn't really look like a goldfish because it's a Christmas ornament. But when you look at the movie, because I have a little bit of movie too, of the goldfish, notice two things. Its big tail, but then you also notice it has little fins, a couple sets of them, and the ones in the very front are almost like little hands. And as I show you the movie, watch and see what it does with those little fins in the front. Now we'll watch it again, only greatly slowed down. The speed's been slowed down. As you watch it, take your hands, without bumping into your partner, and just see if you can make your hands be like those little fins in the front. Finally, I'm going to show you the little fins, the fish, swimming backwards. I can do this with the movie camera. If you watch as the fish swim backwards, what do they do with their little fins? It looks like they're pushing away. Can you make your hands go backwards? Before we leave the goldfish, I'm going to show you the still pictures, and thought it might be kind of fun. When I flip through the still pictures, count each time you see a picture, put up your fingers to show how many goldfish you see in the picture. So if there's 1 or 3 or whatever. Now this time through, this is going to be a little trickier. Rather than counting how many fish you see, count how many eyes you see. So you might see 3 fish, and if you see 1 fish, how many eyes could you possibly see on it? Of course, 2. But this will be kind of fun to do. And when you do this, also notice that our fish tend to have their eyes where? More on the side of their head rather than straight in front like we do. That's very important. And where eyes are placed on every kind of animal is very important. Again, use your fingers. The second animal that I visited at Petco was a relative of this. This is Ratsus. Obviously Ratsus is a puppet and not a real rat. But he is a relative of a smaller animal, a mouse. Now rats and mice bodies are very much the same. They have furry backs, furry ears, furry faces, and they have these tails that have no fur on them at all. So, a couple things to think about. One, how long is a rat's tail or a mouse's tail compared to the rest of its body? So I'm going to show you some pictures, and you can try to figure out that. Is it, in this case, it's how long compared to his body. Let's see if we can measure. Looks like it's what? The tail is just about as long as its body. That would be a very long tail. If we had tails as long as our body, they would drag on the ground. So one question to think about is, after we look at the pictures of rat tails, or actually these are mice, the mice tails, why do you think they have such long tails? What do their tails help them do? I'm going to show you, after the still pictures, a moving picture of the mice, and that might help you understand how the tail helps them. Finally, a very interesting question about these tails. Why do you think they have tails without fur?
Can you think of other animals with long tails? Obviously, Chica the dog has a furry tail. Horses have furry tails. Why do you suppose they don't have fur on their tails? Both the rats and the mice. Now, if I ask Ratsus, maybe Ratsus knows, but I don't think he's going to tell me. However, you could come up with your own ideas, and then maybe your teachers could go online and help you see if you can find an answer. Or you could go home and ask your parents, or your family, or friends. It's an interesting question. Do you know why you don't have fur on your tail? Do you want to tell us? I'm not sure that Ratsus really does know why he doesn't have fur on his tail. Before I leave, I just realized I have on my Minnie Mouse t-shirt. And one last thing to note, even in cartoon mice, you can see Minnie has a very long tail and it has no fur. Well, that's it for this Wednesday's Kids Afield. Sorry it was still too cold for me to be out there with you taking pictures, but there's always next week. And meanwhile, just think about the camera, think about things you can take pictures of, maybe inside if the outdoors isn't going to be cooperative.